Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. As always, if you're new to the channel, this is Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling fan art project where we are bringing to life the world of Hyrule in the art style of the Wind Waker. It is, of course, you know, if you've played Wind Waker before, you know that all the islands of the Great Sea, which you see in the game, are really the mountaintops of Hyrule. And so this project is just all about fully realizing that world that we never really got to see. We got to see the islands of the Great Sea. We got to see a portion of Hyrule below the surface, that area around the castle, and that's it. And we know that because there's the islands of the Great Sea, we know Hyrule expands way out beyond that bit that we got to explore. So this art project is just all about showing you that world that you could never that you never really got to explore. So anyway, without further ado, I want to talk about what we're watching in the time lapse today, because this is awesome. Just like right out the gate, I was sent 3 models by DakotaDraws. Huge shout out to Dakota. This is crazy work. This is fulfilling. Just right out the gate, several locations that people have been, that your comments have been asking for. And Dakota said, Dakota took up the mantle, took it into his own hands. I don't know the phrase I'm trying to say, but I guess Dakota has just like shot me 3 models right out the gate for several locations that y'all have been asking for. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know if I'm trying to use like an idiom. Us Southern American folk like using idioms, but I want to talk about this. I just want to talk about what Dakota's done, because it's awesome, and it made me so excited when I found out that he was working on this. He made GC Isle, which was how do I put it? It was a location from concept art from the Hyrule Historia book. Y'all know that if y'all have read Hyrule Historia and seen the art book for all this Legend of Zelda concept art, you know that GC Isle was an island that was planned for the Wind Waker, and it was going to be an island that was kind of shaped like a GameCube. These kind of ancient ruins in the style of a GameCube that, Link would be able to sail up to and park at. And ultimately, we got to see that idea kind of revisited in Phantom Hourglass, of course, with, what's that called? DS Isle? Is it that simple? Is that what it's called? And so GC Isle was just kind of the version of that didn't quite make it to air, but made it into the concept art. And, it has always been one of these locations that we knew there was art for, but was never a 3D model. And so Dakota has now made this location in 3D. And so, I'm just doing some work in the video, just kind of like now extending Dakota's models into, the map that I've created, and, adding pathways and mountainsides, and just kind of further, going further to extend the model that he sent me. So that's just kind of what the video is. But I mean, there's so much that like I didn't have to do, just because like, oh man, and like I didn't even know how I would have modeled the GameCube ruins. So it's just like seeing what he's done is just, it really brought a smile to my face. If you're watching this, I really appreciated it. It really made me excited to see these models. And I say these models, right, because you'll see in a couple minutes, it's not just GC Isle, but there's also 2 locations from the map for the Adventure of Link. And and it's hard to do locations from the Adventure of Link because like a lot of them exist outside the normal borders of Hyrule. But there's 2 locations that are pretty close to Death Mountain that I think fit within the northeast Hyrule. And so he also sent me King's Tomb and the Island Palace from the Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. And I really love the way these models look, and I'm excited for y'all to see them when we get to that point in the time lapse, because I have a render at the end of the video if you want to get a better look at them as well. But I'm so excited just for y'all to see these locations, because it's like there's a way that he's visualized these locations from Zelda 2, where it was just pixel art. It was just a flat screen, and not just bringing it into 3D, but bringing it into the art style of the Wind Waker it's just a really cool re-envisioning of those locations that I feel like not only meshes with the art style of the Wind Waker, with the original sprite work from Zelda 2, but also with the rest of my map. I feel like there's conventions there of working within the art style of the Wind Waker that I feel like the models fit in, and I want to elevate the quality of my models to match that. So it's really inspiring now to have more and more locations where I have more contributors, that can inspire me to do a better job with my parts of the map. So I'm really encouraged by that. And it's just so cool to see the project growing, to have more and more people involved. So yeah, once again, thank you to DakotaDraws for working on these models. I do think in the meanwhile, it might be time for a short break. If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there's several ways that you can do that. Become a member on Patreon. It gives you access to exclusive bonus features and early access content in all of my filmmaking projects. Stuff like early access to scripts that I'm writing, storyboards, previs, rough cuts, and music that I compose. I'm a composer, and any music that you've heard in the background of this video was my music. So go to Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music and type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify. And we're back. I always got to remind you how you can support me as a creator. Just once again, just as a side note to that, it means a lot. I don't make any ad revenue on these YouTube videos. If there are ads, it's because YouTube has put ads on the videos. This is completely non-monetized from my end. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, there's no way this project will never be monetized. But there are ways that you can support me as a creator by becoming a member on Patreon, and that gives you exclusive behind-the-scenes access to all kinds of filmmaking content. I've already given you the spiel. I'm not going to give it to you again. But supporting me through there, and supporting me through my Spotify page where you can listen to my music, those are ways to support all of my other projects and me as a creator. And so that would mean a lot. So I just wanted to go ahead and voice that. But I think it's about time in the time lapse to look at some new locations. So let's get away from GC Isle. I think the time lapse is about to switch. So here it goes. I think, give or take. I'm not like actively watching the time lapse. I just kind of I know some timestamps in the back of my head. But I don't know. If y'all can see it already, it's so cool to me to see these Zelda 2 locations in this art style. I love the art style of the Wind Waker, if that's not obvious due to the nature of this project. It's just, and I don't know, maybe I should do a whole video just talking about this, but to me, they really are the most beautiful video game graphics that have ever been made. And, I think part of that is the comfort of the nostalgia of the graphics growing up with that game. It just fundamentally, they remind me of my childhood, and I feel at home with those graphics. I have memories associated with them. And I do think that those, like, how do I put it? Like, those have nothing to do with the game itself. But even beyond those memories, it is such a comfortable art style. It is beautiful. Aesthetically, it is beautiful. And it's something that, like, I don't know, to me, it's like, I feel very aware that my own modeling is not, it's not as good as those original Wind Waker developers. I think a lot of the ways that they've been able to create efficient models that are also beautiful and feel packed with detail while also being low poly, all those things, I want to push myself to be better and do better, and having that as a constant reference, trying to, work alongside those original Wind Waker models. And now with other collaborators, I feel like really pushes me to want to do better with my own modeling, and that excites me. It's inspiring. And I love Zelda, and I love the Wind Waker, we used to say. But yeah, I love this art style, man. And it's just like having a reason to immerse myself in it just every now and then, just being able to put a little time into modeling and that art style is pleasant. It's so pleasant. And I've done a lot of 3D modeling projects kind of in different ways. I mean, usually for my short films, if I'm working on CGI, right, or creating shots using digital doubles for characters, VFX shots, CG sci-fi scenes. And sometimes like those things are fun to animate, and sometimes it's exciting and rewarding. But I've never done a project that is as comfortable as just being able to immerse myself in Hyrule, in the art style of the Wind Waker, in this colorful, bright world. And it is cartoonish, but it's also something I can take seriously. And I know it's something that y'all take seriously as well. Even though it is a cartoon, even though the colors are bright and, you know, kid-friendly, this is a world full of drama and history, and not everything is perfect. And I know that y'all know that and are tapped into that. And so I feel like it's something that we all get, no matter how cartoonish it looks. This is a world that we can still take seriously. And I've really appreciated, I guess, like all y'all's comments, and I just want to voice that. I think this is probably a good time as any, that if y'all are watching the video and y'all or if at any point y'all think to yourself, oh, that's not how I would do it, or you just have any notes or feedbacks or, you know, pieces of feedback or criticism or whatever it is, just any ideas that you have for the project, whether that's ideas about things you've already seen me model that like I said, you think you would do differently, or ideas you have for other locations that you want to see within the art style of the Wind Waker. Feel free to comment down below. I read the comments, and those directly inform the work that I do, both in what videos I make next and deciding what locations I work on, but also in what locations I go back to. Because if I make something and I see that y'all are really dissatisfied by it, I take your feedback into account. And you know, I can't take everyone's feedback into account. So if anyone disagrees, you know, I can't do everything. I can't please everyone. So just keep that in mind. But I do try to honor notes and feedback as long as it makes sense. And to me, it's like that. You know, that's the thing, is if you can defend your note, even if it's a little controversial, if you can defend it, and it makes more sense than whatever I'm doing, I am open to changing things. So yeah. I mean, it just, yeah, that I feel like that's always worth saying. And as for contributions as well, for other 3D modelers that might be, if y'all are watching this and you're a 3D modeler and you're interested in contributing to the project, you know, like I said, this video here is you know, completely dedicated pretty much to Dakota's work. You know, I'm doing like a little bit of work that we see on screen with these locations, but you know, this video that you're watching is made possible thanks to DakotaDraws. So, you know, I would love to feature more 3D artists and their work in this world. So feel free to get in contact with me if you want to work on part of this map, if there's anything that interests you, any locations I haven't done yet, or if you want to talk about what those locations would be, or even if there's just small assets that you're interested in making, whether that's a small structure or building or ruins or a tree, any kind of like little asset. You know, it doesn't even have to be anything big. If you're interested in contributing, you know, if this seems fun for you, it's fun for me. Lord knows. So I invite you to reach out via email. I think all that is in the about page of my YouTube channel. So I've already told you how you can support me as a creator, so I'm not going to rehash any of that. Just don't forget to listen to Joe Kendrick on Spotify. That's JoeKendrick. So without further ado, I'll let y'all go.